Fun little trip back home, huh?
Yeah, let's discuss that. Would you like to talk about my fun little trip home? How about that? Shall we
I
talk
know.
about that?
I know. I'm going to preface this. I know that the trip home is about 16 hours and 10 minutes, right? Yeah, that's about right.
16. I've done it in 15 and a half. Depending on how many times I stop, the longest it's taken me is about 16 hours and about 15 minutes.
I'm guessing
Guess
you
how long
broke a record and did it in less time this time, obviously, right?
I broke a record.
You broke a record.
It was not in less time.
Oh, no.
It took me bell to bell from the time I walked out of your house, because I ended up staying at your place the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you very much, by the way.
Glad to have you.
It took me 19 hours and 55 minutes. 19 hours and 55 minutes.
What happened? I know.
Well, you see, what had happened was, first I went through, instead of going north through Flagstaff, because they had 14 inches of snow the night before. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know exactly how much of the snow was going to be cleared, because there was still a lot of snow when I drove in. It snowed. It was like a whiteout blizzard. When I drove in, I had to stop and pull over and stay the night, because I was just going to come right on into Phoenix.
Yeah, because when that storm rolled through the day you guys had the shittiest day at the Open, that was all translated to snowstorm up north.
Right. And I saw that, and I didn't know how much, because driving down the highway was pretty snow-packed. So I was like, yeah, the snow hasn't really hit up through Payson and that Show Low area yet. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go try that way.
So you tried that way. I saw when I'd woken up that morning, hours after you'd left, that was, at the time, the recommended route. They did not recommend Flagstaff.
It was. So I left about 4 a.m. and I got it was pretty smooth sailing. I filled up with gas, and actually it's pretty smooth sailing until I got almost to the top of the mountain. And there's like a gas station where you kind of turn right through that whole little small town, and it was white out snow. Could not barely see. It was dark. The lights were, it was like making me dizzy because I was driving, and you know how the snow just kind of trickles in and does that thing with your brain where it doesn't feel like you're moving.
Right.
Well, I wasn't moving too fast. So that took me that put me, and then we got kind of the top of the hill, and there was some sort of like bulldozer or grader pushing snow away. So we were driving like 8 miles an hour, under 10 miles an hour for about 30 miles. So that was the first hiccup. And I was like, shit, 3 hours in, it normally would have been an hour and a half to where I was. So I was double the time where it was already there.
Oh, man.
I was like, I am never driving this ever again. Don't ever let me do this. I don't ever, ever, ever.
I've always questioned why you did, and you have other reasons that you just don't like flying. So
yeah, I just don't like flying, but I will suck it up for 2.5 hour flight.
Yeah, get you one of them direct boys. Figure it out, make it happen. It's not that bad. It's just when you have to stop in like fucking Houston or Denver for 5 hours at flying's like fuck.
Right. So then we get to, I hadn't stopped, and I was kind of concerned. Just, I didn't use a full tank of gas, but I didn't know if I was going to have to stop again. So I filled my half a tank of gas and got like an energy drink and was feeling good. I was like, all right, good. So I got to that little small town when you then turn north to go to I-40.
Yeah.
And it was pretty clear. It was sun shining. The sun came out. The sun was good. I get all the way up to I-40, and then you turn right to head east towards Albuquerque.
Mm-hmm. You caught back up with the storm at some point, didn't you?
I didn't catch up with the storm. However, I did catch up with a wreck There was a wreck. Were becoming packed. We started going about 10 miles an hour again. And I was like, oh my God, I can't do this again. So I was looking at the weather. And so instead of going on US 54, which is a 2-lane road, it's pretty sketchy when it's 100% clear out. I went all the way to Amarillo, Texas, which is about another 30 minutes out of the way. And then through Oklahoma City and then up I-35 to Wichita. So bell to bell, it was about 19 hours and 50 minutes. Brutal trip. And that, that just kind of capped off a horrible trip. The Saturday when we saw Post Malone, it was fantastic. When Sox was in town and her husband, it was great to meet him. That was a blast. And then after that concert, the Friday night was jacked up. It was fun seeing my sister and her husband and you and your wife at the Orange Sky dinner.
We didn't get to do any of the stuff we wanted to go. I mean, we were going to have a hell of a live that night.
We had live scheduled every night, basically 4 out of the 7 nights I was there. So didn't get to do it. We talked a little bit about that on the last podcast with Joe and you at the Russ Factor Studios. But it's just wild. The whole experience of the golf tournament was terrible.
That's another
The weather
story.
was horrible. The weather was horrible.
Even that last day or the day after the big rain, it was better, but it was still fucking cold out there.
That's what Joe and I, my cousin Joe and I were talking about. He's like, God, if this was a normal trip, we would be completely bitching about how bad this day is. And he and I were looking at each other talking about how good it was because there was actually sun. We got to watch a little bit of golf. We're one of the very few people that go to the Waste Management to watch golf. The kid that I coached was playing in it, so I wanted to follow him. And it was just brutal. It was a whole nother level this year. It's normally the drunkest you'll ever see anybody. And I think that tournament jumped the shark this year. I've been reading a whole bunch of articles.
It got bad. I was curious on what your thoughts about, some changes for next year are going to be, because obviously
I don't know.
The city's not happy.
I know. It's made obviously national news. We didn't see the lady fall, but on 16, the party hole, it was said that this lady fell 25 feet off the back of the stands right on her face. Wow. We saw her. So they have bicycle firemen. They're on bikes and another one was on a golf cart. So they were hauling her. She was all boarded up, like how they put people on that backboard so they don't move their neck and stuff like that. Her face was unrecognizable. You could not even see what was up with her face. And she had a huge, I don't know if her leg was broken or what happened.
We were pretty sure she was drunk.
I don't know. I would assume so.
That's another thing you got to think about is when you get injured like that and stuff, and you've had copious amounts of alcohol. Alcohol's a bit of a blood thinner, and yeah,
it was. You couldn't even recognize her face. It was all bloody. So the only reason we saw that is because we were on 15 watching the guy that I coached. And we heard these tiny little sirens. And I was like, what is going on? Who is effing with us now? Or who is effing with these guys now? And I was like, oh. And I looked at Joe and I go, look at the back of that. So they were driving kind of slow. Then there was about 15 or 20 firemen on bicycles and they were escorting this golf cart. And there was shoulder to shoulder walking because you couldn't get through it. So they had this teeny tiny siren going, I was like, what is going on? And then we saw the lady on the back and I was like, oh. So the golfers stopped and watched. Everybody just watched her as she went by on the back of this golf cart. It was bad. You had golfers screaming at the patrons.
I saw a video last night where this dude was pissed and he's just yelling at the dude, shut up! Pissed.
That was my old roommate. He was Ryder Cup captain for those of you that know what golf is.
I could tell by his body language when he walked off and that dude was still popping. He looked like he was about to go back and deck the dude, but he just kept walking straight.
He's legit one of the most nicest, calm, cool, collected dude. But I heard a lot of screams towards him because he was a Ryder Cup captain, and the Ryder Cup is U.S. versus Europe. And United States was said to have the best team in a long time, but they hadn't won in like 30 years over in Europe, and they lost. They got drummed, and he heard about it. And he'd finally heard enough on the 15th hole. We were just on the other side, and we saw kind of the aftermath. And then he hit a bad shot, and that was his tipping point. He turned around and just owned that dude and started screaming, and which is very, very, very unlike him. So it had to have been an all-day situation.
It did not look like fun. That's why I said is even though like the changes are gonna happen, it's like the players alone are probably like, this is fucking stupid. Like,
and like Zach Johnson, that's who the Ryder Cup captain was that was screaming at the guy, said, he goes, I've been coming here for 20, 21 years. I know what to expect, but this by far is the worst situation I've ever seen. And he was like, I'm not gonna come back. And he's like, the Thunderbirds are the people that run that tournament. He's like, they should be ashamed of themselves. I mean, all the players were really hard or outspoken against the whole situation. But it was really weird. That Friday, it was nice. Normally we like hang out and stay there till dark, and they kicked everybody out at like 4:30 or 5, like out of like the VIP suites, and stopped serving alcohol. And you couldn't even get a Diet Coke or a water there. They just completely stopped it. I mean, could you imagine paying a couple $100,000 and you have a security guard come over and tell you to beat it? And that was on Friday. And I was looking at my cousin. I was just like, man, this is just wild. I was like, Joe, this is wild. Look at all that. We were sitting on 18, and I was like, they kicked every single person out across the fairway there. I was like, what is going on? And then we went back up to see my brother-in-law's brother, and I was like, what's going on? And there was fighting. Everybody was fighting along that little road there. It was just wild. I mean, normally you'll see one or two people get in a fight, but we saw a lot of fights. You saw a lot of it on TikTok and Instagram, everybody fighting and screaming, and it was wild.
That's absolutely crazy. So it's going to be really curious to see kind of what happens next year, because, I mean, a lot of this, like, it is just heavily fueled by alcohol.
They pushed back sales by, I think, 30 or 45 minutes. Or an hour, maybe. I can't remember. Maybe it started at 9 and then they pushed it back to 10 this year. It's just wild. I don't know what they can do. They have to limit the amount of people that come in there. So Saturday, I was going to stick around because the guy that I coached made the cut, and I was going to stick around and then leave Saturday evening and get back before the Super Bowl on Sunday. And it was supposed to rain, and it wasn't supposed to be a great day, so I ended up leaving. Thank God I did.
Oh my God! Because Saturday was times 10.
Way worse.
Like, it was the same stuff, but earlier they cut all the sales off. People freaking out. Everybody was just trashed. People were sliding down hills, falling off of shit, tripping over curbs. Like,
so it rained Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday actually. And that turned that golf course into an absolute, like, Woodstock mud pit. And these people, it was just, it smelled. It ruined your shoe. Like, I had to throw my shoes away. I'm sure Joe had to throw his away too. It's just, or he said he was going to clean them, but I mean, it ruined my socks. It ruined everything. And luckily, you had to really watch your step because it was slick. You'd fall right on your face. And it was just wild. I just think that there's something has got to change. They had too many people there. I think what's going to speak volumes is the amount of pros that stop showing up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when that starts happening, it's either going to go away or they have to make drastic change.
I mean, and again, I don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to do that.
I don't know, because like you got to think limiting alcohol, that can only work so well. Like, how do you even do that? Like
People
on that
started,
scale?
right? People started camping out to get to the 16 hole at like 4 a.m. So those people are bringing in. If they're not coming from the night before being hammered, they're bringing in flasks or little airplane bottles or whatever. So no matter when you start the alcohol sales, these people are either going to have their own.
Here's another interesting thing, too, that not really getting talked about, too, is the mixing of the alcohol. Of course, as everyone knows, here in Arizona, it's a recreational marijuana state. I saw some people act in a way that I've been close to before, where I start mixing my edibles with a bunch of fucking liquor.
Yeah.
So you got people probably absolutely just twisted out of their minds there, just high on edibles, drinking way too much alcohol on a large scale. And
yeah, you'd smell a lot of weed, but not as much as you'd think. But you saw some whacked out individuals down there. But anyway,
I'm glad
so
I don't go to that stuff, man. That's a little too big of a party for me.
The Phoenix Open normally is like my favorite week of the year, and I don't know. Not this year. If I go next year, depending on who the concert. Plus, it was a long trip. I was gone a long time. I got there. I left Thursday and didn't come back till I was gone like 10 or 11 days.
Yeah, you were here a long
It's just
time.
a long trip. Yeah. It was fun, like hanging out with you and seeing my sister and all that, but it's whatever.
By like day 4, you're like, I want to sleep in my bed.
Well, your bed was super comfortable.
We do have that.
It was fun. It was good. It was good to hang out and good to do the show from your house and hang out with Hyphen. And Danny Hyphen cooked one of the greatest meals ever after our podcast last week.
Absolute feast after the show. He was preparing it. That meal started at like 3:30 that day. It was a lot of smoking meat out in the barrel and letting stuff set, and we had a whole deal.
Go over the menu, Russ Factor.
What fuck we had? We had that big old
steak.
That big old pork.
We had brisket. Was it brisket?
It was brisket. And then the other meats that we had were kind of the secondary things, because you said Joe was coming. I'm like, okay, cool. We just get a little bit more. It's great, because I think we would have been pushing it just a little if it was just the brisket with 3 hungry men and 2 ladies.
Yeah, it was so good. Then we had beans. We had
asparagus.
I love me some asparagus.
Found that out. I put that on the menu after Orange got, because you mentioned you like it. I was like, Funk likes asparagus, so let's get that, because we make that shit all the time here. So. And
then your wife made some what's that, cobbler?
Yeah.
Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, with that nice savory butter.
Oh yeah, and I forgot about your those the cheese, the little cheese things you made with the thin Triscuits. What was that? The brie cheese castle?
That's the brie cheese. We put that on. We get the little wheels. It just comes from the grocery store. We put that on the grill. You put the jelly on top, and then you get the little Triscuits out. And when it's all hot in lava, you just you dip you some up, put them on your plate. Ooh, that's a tasty snack.
Oh boy!
Yeah, melted cheese. Hell yeah.
So when I came back today, I weighed myself, and I am officially on a diet. I knew I'd weighed a shitload.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to have to wait till Friday to hit my diet.
Well, why, Russ? Where are you going? Tell us what you're doing. What Thursday, you are peace up.
I'm peace up right after this podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's because you're seeing you're going to be at the Sphere on Thursday.
Yep, going to be at the Sphere for one more U2 show. It was originally the last of 3, but they added another few shows on there, which got you back in the seat to go see one here in a couple weeks. So
yeah, it'll be a blast. I can't wait.
We're gonna go down there. We got reservations right when we get in over at this Italian place at MGM, new place called Lucchini's, I believe. It's like 2 words, but yeah. And my free stay I always get comes with $100 dining credit, so I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the cheapest meal ever.
And you're gonna go see Vegas Pauly C's tacos shop.
We're gonna try to do that right before the Sphere, because we're gonna plan on hitting that brunch buffet at the Wynn at a decent hour when we get up Thursday, and then not eat, and then cruise on out to the Vegas Poly C Taco Shop. Hopefully, have some tacos.
Yeah.
And hit the show from there, and then gonna squeeze some gambling in. You know how we do, and then turn right around and come back Friday afternoon. A little quick trip, tiny one.
That'll be fun. A little quick trip Wednesday through Friday. That'll be good. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the show, to see what they've changed and how they sound and all those things. And hopefully you get that hand pay victory at Cherry's Jubilee over by the sushi shop downstairs, MGM Grand.
I can't remember how that works. It's there's some on both sides, and one of them's a higher max bet, right? I think
There's three. There's $1, there's a $2, and then a $5 machine. So it's $3, $6, and $15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there was probably 7 or 8 hand pays while we were there. People were hitting that jackpot while we were there, and unfortunately, Sox and I were not one of them. We put about $600 in one, and then we stopped for some dumb reason, and then 2 spins after we stopped, the lady hit the $4,000 or something along those lines.
Well,
we went. I guess we already talked about that on the last podcast, where we had a pretty darn good run at the casino when Sox was in town and my wife were in town. We had a good run.
yeah,
Joe
6.5 hours of fun.
Yeah, we were there 5:30 in the morning both nights, and then Joe and I went to Wild Horse Pass.
Yeah.
Gila Riva.
Yeah. Did you like it?
Hit that up. Yeah, it was really nice. It was not huge, which was cool. They had a badass sports book. They had a fat burger. They had a Shula Prime steakhouse, which we're definitely probably going to go back. Definitely, probably. They already sent me a letter. It said, we would love for you to come back, and we would love for you to stay at our place. Here's $100, 2 free nights. And if you want, you can go to a Phoenix Suns game, NHL game. Just hit me up. Here's my cell phone number when you come back. I was like, hey, her name was Angie. So thanks, Angie. Greatly appreciate it.
I've been to both of those sporting events before. A lot of fun.
And then we went to, did we talk about that? All my nights are confused. We went to, what was the other one? The new Santan Mountain.
Santan Mountain. It's clear out east. We'd gotten word from somebody in our Discord to go check that out, because it was a property that opened up in June. Same Gila River property owner. We had a good time there. It was a weird little casino, and we pumped a hand pay right out the gate in the high limit room. And it was a little stingy all night, but still fun. It was a nice atmosphere. Most of the casinos down here are smoke-free, so this place smelt new. It didn't smell like cigarettes. And, I mean, I've mentioned I am a smoker, but I really appreciate non-smoking casinos. It's very nice.
Yeah, you kind of forget about it, how nice they are. But all those in Arizona, weirdly, are smoke-free.
Yep, that happened during COVID, and then they just decided, nah, we're gonna keep it this way.
Really?
Yeah.
So you could smoke in them prior to?
Yep.
Interesting.
You sure could.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thunk it?
But
Huh.
I think there's still some properties down here. I'm surprised they didn't let you do it in Casino Arizona.
That's true. So Casino Arizona we should have just handed over $500 and let them kick us in the
Right at
balls,
the
because
door.
that's basically
Here you go.
here's
I'm out.
500. I've got some plans to go live. I posted in the community that I wasn't able to go live there. We didn't ever get permission. We tried. We had permission, and then they denied us. And gave us the good reasons on why they denied us, and it's whatever. And then we were at Santan Mountains, owned by a different place. I reached out to them, never heard back, so that's why we just went live. We didn't get denied, but they didn't seem to care.
They didn't seem to care. They knew we were. I mean, it's a casino. They knew we were hanging out.
And a very
we don't
small
cause problems. We don't cause scenes. We're very low profile. So there was no thoughts at all. I was even talking. I talked to one outside, and then had a quick interaction with one of the security guys. Were super cool, super chill.
Yeah.
So I don't think they had a single problem with us at all. But it would be nice to get in contact again with someone with Gila River and actually kind of work on maybe getting something official for your next trip down, and we can go to like Wild
we can
Horse
do
and
that. I've still got the persons that the people that I was talking to. The one at Talking Stick was interesting. We got word that we could, and then when we got there, we wanted to check because we didn't get confirmation. And sure enough, the manager on duty came and talked to Russ. As we talked about that already.
And that's a property where we kind of knew that some things were up because it's been kind of shaky in the past with kind of getting the permission. And there are ones where, you know, if whoever came over to tell us to stop streaming was having a bad night, they might have kicked us out if we just, you know, took it upon our own to do it. So we did the right thing. We talked to the guy. He was super cool, but you're not going to like the answer, boys.
Yeah. Well, I just didn't want to do it, tell him, hey, you guys can't do that, and then get the boot and then ruin our chances for doing it.
Right.
Later down the road, because we're going to be able to do it later down the road.
Yeah.
They're just rewriting their processes. It sounded
and
like
that's casino we don't want to blow any opportunities with because it's a nice place. We like Talking Sticks, so
it's very nice. I like it. You're exactly right. So then, what else went on this week? Not much. The Super Bowl.
I watched it. I watched sports.
It was crazy ending there, and I guess that was the second ever Super Bowl to end in OT.
Yeah, there was a lot of records broke that night, dude. The field goal broke a field goal record that night. Yeah,
the field goal record was broke by the San Francisco guy in the first quarter, and then the Chiefs guy broke it in the third. Broke his record in the third. Pretty wild.
Yeah, that beginning of that game, though, to me, I thought it, you know, I'm not a sports guy, so it was really boring.
Snoozer. Till like the third quarter was a snoozer.
Yeah, even when they tied it up, it kind of went back to being a snoozer for a little bit there, and then the action really kicked it. I enjoyed fourth quarter and overtime. Overtime was great. That was
exciting. I like the new overtime rules where it's not the first one who scores. It used to be the first person that scores either a field goal or a touchdown, so it all came down to the coin toss.
Yep.
They did not do that. So, and what did you think of the Usher halftime show?
I thought it was really cool. I thought it was one of the best in a few years, actually.
Are you serious?
In terms of the production that they did, because even, here we go, like think about when was The Weeknd? Was that last year or the year before?
The Weeknd was last year. It was last year, I think.
There's so many that I'm like, you see the setup and you're like, wow, this has to be really weird for people at the stadium watching. Remember when he was inside that structure and like
mirror,
trying to,
that
like,
mirror thing.
Everybody outside's just looking at this structure. You can't even see him. This one, the reason I say this is because outside of the very beginning when he comes out and I go, this is gonna be another one of those weird ones where it's just kind of awkward for the audience. Once they got to that big stage, I'm like, this is a decent production for what it is. Now, did I care for everything that went on? No.
I thought it was here. Okay, hold on. I got to think positive. The positive was Usher sang it all. There was no like lip syncing or doing any of that bullshit, which I admire. So he had a little bit of trouble singing there at the beginning.
Yeah.
But people were giving him shit, but he didn't lip sync it, which I liked.
I was sitting there the whole time going like, Jesus Christ, what hole did they pull Alicia Keys out of? Where they pulled Usher out of a Time Warp hole? And
then how he was hugging her, I was like, I think she's married. I think he's married, but I don't know. It was just really weird.
I saw a couple memes about that. One being like, you know, if some dude was hugging my girl like this on a stage, 100 million people, I'm rushing that stage. And then the other meme I saw said, "This be your girl at work."
And they were both wearing McDonald's uniforms. Yeah, I saw that. The other good meme that I saw, it was hilarious because I thought of it too, was when they came out on roller skates. They had the meme from Peter Griffin.
I was laughing at that part. And you said that Peter Griffin thing, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. And then somebody, of course, already had it keyed up. I thought it was not great.
It wasn't the worst.
It couldn't have. Yeah, last year's was, or whenever weekend was the worst.
Not to be confused with the fast food factor, but one of my factors here was that it was a CBS Super Bowl, and they are notorious for fucking up the broadcast audio for the halftime show. They didn't do that this year. They did all right. They didn't.
Everybody at the Super Bowl said you couldn't hear what was going on. You could not hear what was going on. So at the game, when you're inside the arena, you couldn't hear it, couldn't see it. So I'm sure CBS was really worried about that to go that. But it was, just very ho-hum, very low energy, I thought, until Ludacris and Little John came out.
I didn't think I had a feeling Lil Jon. I knew Lil Jon, but like they hadn't showed Luda yet, and I was like, there's no way they're gonna pull Luda out, and they did.
Yeah, it was Luda's really good. Yeah. I liked him. He was fantastic.
I'm glad he had that big old fro.
He did. He had a huge fro. So you know that you normally get a huge Super Bowl bump on downloads, and they were really pushing that Apple Music the whole time. Download all Usher's music from Apple, the store. He woke up the next day, and he was not the most downloaded artist. Who was it?
Kanye
West.
Kanye West
dropped that album. I listened to it today, and it's actually pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any huge hits.
I'll have to listen to it on the plane tomorrow or later.
It's pretty good. I don't, like I say, they'll probably be, I don't know. Who knows? I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, what is Usher? I mean, that's, you get that bump, but like, I don't know. Does Usher still come out with music? Does he still make music?
True.
Like, you can only be like, oh, man, everybody, oh, yeah, is the number one down? No, it's not. It's never going to be the number one downloaded song again. That was 2 decades ago.
It's interesting. I don't know.
Did you see Kanye's commercial that aired regionally? It didn't air in my market.
It didn't air in my market either. I saw that he spent $7 million on the commercial.
He didn't spend $7 million. That's why it wasn't a national spot.
He put it, the national spot was like 15, I think. So he spent half. He spent $7 million on it, and then it cost him exactly $0 to make because he recorded it all from his iPhone.
Yeah, that was hilarious. So he's got his new grill. So he just talks to hey guys, it's Kanye, easy. And he's like, here's the funny part. He's like, go to my website. I got shoes on there, and that's all. There's no shoes on there. Oh, wait, there is. Oh, my God, there is. Those are shoes. I keep thinking they're not shoes because they're like socks.
They're shoes.
You ever rip the insole out of your Nikes to put custom ones in?
That's, yeah.
That's what the bottom of these shoes look like, is ripped out insole.
So then Kanye got kind of in a fight with Shaquille O'Neal on Twitter. Or Instagram, one of the two. I think it was Twitter, actually. Whatever. It said, Kanye tweeted, Dov Charney is my brother and me and my wife's business partner. When Jamie Salter and everyone else wouldn't take my calls, he let me sleep at his factory. Dov Charney, Joni Hill, and John Rothman are all three who inspired my apology. And then Shaq just said, who cares? Stop bitching and snitching. I know you saw me at the Super Bowl. I was waiting for you to say something smart. Man up. Nobody want to see you crying. Nobody want to see you crying. Man up, little boy. And then Shaq deleted it.
He shouldn't. I don't know what. He shouldn't have deleted it.
I don't know why Shaq. If you're going to tweet something or post something on Instagram, don't delete it.
What's the point of deleting it? Like, right. In this day and age, like that shit was screen captured 0.001 milliseconds after it was posted by somebody.
Right. And then, of course, everybody was all over Shaq. Some fans were saying Shaq deleting his comment made him look like a little bitch. Yeah. Another person said Kanye has mentioned Shaq when he told about the sacrifice of his mom and all those Illuminati things. So I guess Shaq doesn't like him very much. They're trying to figure out what was going on, but Kanye's in another little beef with Sharon Osbourne. Did you read about that?
No.
I think, let me get the exact facts and issue was Sharon Osbourne is super pissed off because Kanye West requested a Ozzy song for his album.
Yeah, they were gonna do. I did read some of this. They were gonna. They wanted to use Iron Man.
Oh, it was Iron Man. I thought it was a song I'd never heard, but she said it was from some show.
They wanted to sample Iron Man, but they ended up sampling this other song that I'd never heard of before. It wasn't Ozzy, but I'd heard the sample of the new thing they used, and it's like I think that probably sounds better for how the rest of the song goes than I Am Iron Man.
Okay, here's was Ozzy's response. It was asked permission to sample a section. Okay, so this is all I saw. I didn't know the song. It said a section of 1983 live performance of War Pig from a U.S. festival without vocals. And I refused permission because he is an anti-Semite who has caused untold heartache to many. He went ahead and used the sample anyway at his album.
Did he? I was reading. I thought that said the sample was. I thought that was like a 3-named song.
That tweet was from Ozzy on February 9th, 2024. I don't know. So I think that I'm not sure if that was what it was, but Sharon Osbourne went to Twitter or Instagram or wherever they go and said, "You are messing with the wrong bitch." And this sounds like Sharon is real pissed off about it.
Does she have a platform anymore?
Not since they kind of eliminated her from The View or The Talk or whatever the hell that dumb show was where those ladies just scream at each other.
I mean, I know that...
Which was weird. Do you remember that why she got removed? The whole thing that she got removed for is not because she was supporting what Piers Morgan said. It was she was defending his right to be able to say it.
Yeah.
Whatever he wants. She didn't agree with what he said necessarily. If memory serves. I could be incorrect, but I was like, that was really odd that they gave her the boot and just kicked her out. She even made clear, I'm not defending what he said, I think. It's just odd. Oh, God, whatever.
They don't even host that shit anymore. Is Whoopi Goldberg still on there? They find a way to fire her too.
No, somehow that dummy's still on there. God. Oh, God, just a bunch of housefrows screaming at each other and watching that. Oh, God, it's so wild. Anyway.
I don't know how the Kanye thing ends, though, because it's, like, crazy. I feel like we're in a very interesting place with Kanye's career and life. I don't know how it all ends.
I don't either.
Because, like... outside of just overwhelming popularity no matter what, there's a lot of bridges he burned and a lot of, I mean, he doesn't care.
Hold on. Yeah, okay. War Pigs is I Am Iron Man. So I was confused on what that song was, right? Let me... Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah, the sample I heard on the video I watched was a completely different kind of song that really fit as an opener.
It was a live version of it from 1983. So I don't know what the difference between that was.
I'll have to give that album a listen tomorrow.
It's good. It's Kanye.
Yeah.
Whatever you think it's going to be is what it is. It's not a bad album by any stretch of the imagination. It's called Vultures.
Yeah.
The first, it's got a whole shitload of listens already. I was just looking at it. It's got over 100 million listens on Spotify so far. So it's crushing. He's doing fantastic for his stuff, and he just starts screaming. Do you know what song that he sampled that on? Do you remember the name of it?
No.
I'll have to search that up. But anyway, what else do you got going on, Russ Factor?
Not much. Of course, we just discussed going to Vegas, quick trip, coming back, and then it's pretty low key through February, March.
Okay.
Yeah, not much going on. Just chilling, getting into spring here, and then we're all meeting up right there around the beginning of April. Second weekend.
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna be. I just reached out to the casino host there to wrap stuff up. She said she would by the end or middle of next week. She should have an answer for me on what everything we are going to do. Well, this is weird. I just looked it up here, and Ozzy was must have been incorrect because this one says Iron Man that he used on Vultures Volume 1 without permission. I don't know. This whole thing is confusing. Whatever. I don't know. So next week, we're going to have to hear about your trip to U2. And then we're hopefully promoting whatever we're doing in April. And I hope this weekend I'll go live, hopefully Sunday. It's kind of my normal deal. So happy Valentine's Day to all you ladies out there. Right? Make sure, hey guys, make sure you got that lady out there.
Yeah, be sure
you're
to
special something.
Be sure to get her something nicer next year. She'll be ditching you for Galentine's Day.
Galentine's Day, where all the ladies are like, F man. And hopefully Pookie looks fire. I was watching Pookie and Jet tonight, and Pookie was getting ready to go out, and she went out last night on Galentine's Day and went out tonight. She looked fire. Pookie was quintessential black dress fire. I love it. All right, so episode 47, that's a wrap. Follow Russ Factor Show on all platforms. Be looking for the Fast Food Factor. That's going to be coming soon. We'll be talking about that as well.
I saw an early cut of part of the video today. And
okay. Ooh. All right, so greatly appreciate all of you listening, and I don't know, catch up, listen to the rest of the Two Guys One Slot podcast, and like our videos, watch our videos, do all that stuff, and go to oddsjam.com, use a slot or code. Hold on, we'd like to thank. Gonna do it proper. oddsjam.com. oddsjam.com. Code SLOTMASTER at checkout for 35% off. We ain't got a Super Bowl, but we got March Madness right around the corner.
Yo, a lot of basketball bets getting ready to be made, so OddsJam is the place.
All right, OddsJam, we greatly appreciate the support, and we greatly appreciate the support from you and Russ Factor, and I will see you next